Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day and that you're looking after yourselves and one another. In this episode of the Music Den, I'm going to be doing another installment of Album Spotlight. Now, this is on a band I've not yet covered on the channel. The band is Deep Purple, and the album in the spotlight is Fireball. Fireball is Deep Purple's fifth release, their second album with the Mark II lineup, consisting of Ian Gillan on vocals, Ritchie Blackmore on guitars, Ian Pace on drums, Jon Lord on keyboards and organ, and Roger Glover on bass. It was released in the US in July of 1971 and in the UK in September of 1971, produced by Deep Purple. The album was released through Harvest Records in the UK and through Warner Brothers in North America. Upon release in the UK, it reached number one and also hit number 32 in the US charts and number 24 in the Canadian charts. So on this side of the Atlantic, it fared better in Canada slightly than it did in the US. Now, this album is the follow-up to their, uh, I guess, turning point album, In Rock. In Rock saw them take more of a hard rock approach to their music, which Ritchie Blackmore would take full credit for, which would later on cause some strife in the band. This album, Fireball, is a bit of a mishmash for me. I bought this album in 2012 along with In Rock. The track listing in the European market is different from the North American market. I'll go through that. The album starts off with the title track, Fireball, clocking in at 3 minutes, 25 seconds. What it has what I call an intricate drum intro. It has a lot of chugging rhythm guitars. It is a fast-paced ass shaker of a track, I call it, and a lot of guttural vocals, trademark vocals from Ian Gillan. Great track, and has a good organ solo from Jon Lord. On this album, you have a lot of trade-off between Jon Lord and Ritchie Blackmore in terms of the guitar and organ solos. Great track, great track. Next one up is a track called No, 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 clocking in at 6 minutes, 54 seconds. Starts with a funky vibe on the guitar and drums, great husky vocals coming in from Ian Gillan, nice guitar tone on the solo from Ritchie Blackmore. There is an extended guitar solo on this track. This album, again, saw them go off into doing a lot of extended improv guitar solos and keyboard solos, organ solos. There's also an extended organ solo on this track, and there is a nice shriek coming in from Ian Gillan, which is what he's famous for, right? Fantastic track. No, no, no. Now, this is where the track listing deviates slightly. On the European version, you have the track Demon's Eye, clocking in at 5 minutes and 19 seconds. I don't want to say basically, well, when I say basically, I don't mean it in a bad way, guys, really. It is basically a blues number with a swing time signature on the drums. Nice Hammond and guitar solo combined from both Blackmore and Lord. And again, on the fade out, there's some nice shrieking going on from Ian Gillan. Great track, great track. Just a bit of background. The reason why Demon's Eye was not on the North American release. Strange Kind of Woman is track 3 on the North American release. Warner Brothers were impatient for the band to release another album. They wanted product. And Ritchie Blackmore was telling both Harvest and Warner Brothers, you need to give us time. We can't just go into a studio within 5 minutes and give you a new album. You need to give us time in order for us to be able to create some stuff. Warner Brothers didn't care. So instead of Demon's Eye in place of track 3, you have Strange Kind of Woman on the US version because they were impatient, Warner Brothers was, to receive an album. Okay. I don't know where they were going to go with that, but Demon's Eye on the European version comes in, sorry, at track 3. Track 4 is where this album kind of goes off into some other territory that I don't know what. Anyone's Daughter is track number 4, clocking in at 4 minutes 42 seconds. It has a bluegrass country feel to it. Um, it kind of feels like they were all sitting around in the studio, just sort of coming up with ideas off the top of their heads. And someone's at the mixing console and decides to hit record without telling the band. And then they came up with this song, which does have a bit of a country vibe to it. There is some nice piano uh, solo work, nice piano soloing, sorry, from John Lord on this track. Ian Gillan comes in at a normal vocal range, fantastic tone on his vocals, and has a fun vibe to it. You can just see that they were laughing while they were recording it. You can just imagine that they were. Track 5 is a track called The Mule, clocking in at 5 minutes 23 seconds. Has, in my notes I have here, has crashing guitar chords with drum fills at the start. Also, the guitars and organ come in. There's a keyboard solo that comes in at 1 minute 48 seconds. And this is where they start to go into extended jam improv sections on the tracks. In my notes, extended keyboard solo has a psychedelic feel to it, and it does. I mean, they were throwing any idea that they could at the canvas, metaphorically speaking, and seeing what would stick. And it stuck. There's a funky guitar solo that kicks in at 2 minutes 40 seconds, and there's also an extended jam session on the track. It is a good track. It is a good track. Coming in with track 6, you have a track called Fools, which clocks in at 8 minutes 21 seconds. In my notes, I have your slow build up on the intro. It's a slow pace tempo on the track. Instrumental section, heavy guitar chords that come in with the vocals. They come in at 1 minute 39 seconds. Heavy rhythm guitar all over this track. In fact, there's heavy rhythm, chugging rhythm guitar all over this album. And then, Ian Gillan comes in with his gravelly voice. There's an instrumental break that comes in at 3 minutes 53 seconds. And Ritchie Blackmore does some fantastic guitar soloing, but it's more of an experimental feel. There's a lot of experimentation going on this track. The vocals come back in at 6 minutes 29 seconds, and they finish off the track. Track 7 is another track called another experimentation type of track called No One Came, clocking in at 6 minutes 29 seconds. It's a very bottom heavy track with bass and rhythm guitar. There was some organ stabs. I gotta tell you, John Lord's organ playing on this track is amazing, as well as the rest of the album. There's rhythm guitar that's like that underpins the entire track, kind of like you can sort of hear it underneath the organ and the drums, etc. It kind of keeps the track together. Let's see here. There's more funky guitar. I was gonna say more funky guitar that comes in. Has a funky feel to it, I should say too. Nice guitar solo that comes in. A lot of extended jamming on this track between the organ and the guitars. And there's a backward keyboard effect, backwards keyboard flourishes on the track. And that ends off the album. Again, 7 tracks in all, clocking in at a whopping 40 minutes, 30 seconds. Again, my honest opinion, had they removed Anyone's Daughter and put in Strange Kind of Woman on the UK version of the album, it would have made the album more cohesive. I mean, Strange Kind of Woman as a track overall, it's a blues number, okay? And there's a lot of chugging rhythm guitars, And I mean, there's change in tempos at around the minute mark of the track. And then it goes back into the original arrangement of the track to finish off the track, to end the track. It does fit in better with the rest of the album than the track Anyone's Daughter. But you know what? I'm not a record company exec. I wouldn't know anything about that kind of thing, right? Being a music fan. But overall, the album um, as a piece of work does feel more experimental. At times, it does feel a little bit more fragmented, a little more splintered. There is a lack of cohesiveness for me personally on the album compared to In Rock the year before. I mean, In Rock, I do believe, reached number 153 in the US charts. Okay. So I think Warner Brothers, obviously, they want to try and get a good momentum going with releasing an album, from the band to capitalize on the popularity. But pressuring a band to release an album when they're not ready to record is not the way to do it. Sorry. And Ritchie Blackmore, I mean, I should say, first, I should say, none of the band think that Fireball is a classic album in the usual reference of the word. Ritchie Blackmore has publicly stated that he does not like the album due to being pressured to do an album so quickly after In Rock, and he does feel that the production on Fireball suffers greatly. But you know what? What does he know? He's only the one that helped write the music. And again, this was at a point in time in the band's history where he and Ian Gillan, Ritchie Blackmore and Ian Gillan, were not getting along. There was a lot of tension, and Ian Gillan would eventually leave the band due to Ritchie Blackmore's insistence. Okay. And a year after this album came the massively popular and successful Machine Head. Okay. So that's it for now. Please put down in the comments down there below what you think of Fireball. Do you like Fireball? Do you not like Fireball? Do you like the experimentation of it? Do you not like the fact that they went off and did try and that they went off and uh, tried to do something different? Sorry. Let me know what you think. There are no right or wrong answers, just opinion. So that's it for now. In terms of what's coming up on the channel, I've been chatting with Bill through email today, and we will be starting top 5 albums of the 1990s sometime this week. We are also going to start working on a list of our top 30 prog tracks. We are going to split it up into 3 separate episodes because if we did a top 30 prog track episode all in one go, it would last forever. So we're going to split it up into 3 episodes, 10 tracks per episode, and he has put in his list at least one extended track per artist, and he's only picked 1 track per artist, so I'm not allowed to do any repeats. Okay? So anyways, that's it for now. Please let me know again what you think of Fireball, and please look after yourselves and one another, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye for now.